You guys ever watch a movie or a show and like a past villain comes back at like the final boss and helps out the main character achieve victory? Well, it seems like something like that is happening with Destiny 2 right now. Drip fed content used to be a mixed bag of reviews, and for a lot of people, it was just flat out the boogeyman. They didn't want anything to do with it, they hated it, and it was the thing that was killing the game. But right now, with Into the Light and the content like drip that's going on right now, it seems that this topic hasn't been broached at all right now. And I think there's a couple of reasons why this is going on. Mostly because the way they're doing it, it just seems a bit more right, if that makes any sense. It doesn't seem as meticulous or boring as usually a content drip would be. It just seems that things are being able to be moved smoothly and people are able to achieve things they want to, no matter what level of player they are and what level of things they hope to achieve. As of right now, Into the Light, we have a plethora of weapons, but there's still more weapons to come. And it seems like everyone's pretty excited for it because it somewhat plays on a nostalgia a bit, with reissued weapons coming back better than ever.
You're as beautiful as the day I lost you.
One might say, some people might say not, but overall feel is if you get a good role and you're actually working towards something, you're gonna get the weapon that you want.
You're going to be all right. You just stumbled over a stone in the road. It means nothing.
Into the Light is just the perfect example of how to time gate and drip feed content that players will react to positively. See, with the reissued weapons, people right now are doing onslaught to gather the weapons that they've loved in the past, or if they're newer, may not have ever had but always heard stories of. The thing is though, we're not getting it all in one lump. These things are time gated. But the positive thing for this time gate is that now we have time to actually focus on getting a single weapon that we like with the right role. The right role might not be the same thing for everybody. For a casual player, it might just be something that, perks up damage. And if you're a hardcore sweaty sweat, you need that shiny with the best rolls possible. And both are achievable with a minimum to max amount of play. To that's so integral to keeping all parties happy when playing the game. Not everyone has 8 hours a day just to dedicate to Destiny 2, but if you have about 6 hours a week, you can get a weapon that you want and it be a decent roll. And when the next week comes, you could do the same thing pretty much over and over again and feel like you're not really losing too much ground on what people are achieving. It feels good when you're in a community to be able to kind of work towards the same thing. And if you're working and farming toward the same guns and just talking about it, I think people are pretty happy with that outcome. But like I said before, drip feeding content hasn't always been just the greatest thing, and Destiny 2 has been definitely accused of it in the past. See, the main issue with drip feeding content is that when you get this content and there's only so much you could do, it just feels like the company's drip feeding it just so you log in and put X amount of hours every week, and it's somewhat like clockwork. Take the past seasonal models as a prime example of how things kind of were being drip fed to us, and it was just in all the wrong ways. Initially, you have opportunities to get all the guns right up front, and we're not really chasing those guns, we're chasing the red borders. And once you get the red borders, depending on how long you farm, it might be sometimes 2 weeks for some people, and it might not be to the end of the season till you see about 2 or 3 craftable weapons. And really, it just kind of puts like a gap in between the players. Also, most of the drip fed content really was just the first month they released the levels, and then some story beats. You get the exotic mission and you get the raider dungeon or whatever they choose to do that's special that season, and that's it. It was very predictable. Ultimately, it just wasn't fun because we're not farming for newer things. We're farming for the same things over and over again, minus the dungeon exotics and raid weapons or whatever that comes out. But for the actual seasonal content, a lot of people, they spend the first 2-3 weeks farming that craftable weapons, and that's it, man. And then the seasonal activities are just another chore to do. I do want to put a little quick disclaimer. I'm not like poo-pooing craftable weapons. I think they're great. I think they're fine. I just think maybe there's a bit too much of them. It's become somewhat overwhelming, and like I said before, it just eats up a lot of time trying to get every red border for every season. Another major complaint about being drip-fed content is that it doesn't respect the player's time, which is totally understandable. A lot of people want the stuff up front, rush through it, and then leave the game to possibly come back, which is totally understandable. And if you're into that, I don't think the changes they made with Into the Light is going to change anything about that feeling. When you look at the final shape, it kind of looks like it's gonna be drip fed to us a little bit, with I'm okay with. There's gonna be time gates initially when we're talking about like the first 7 missions, and then there's going to be a raid, and the next week after that, and then after that there's going to be more missions to supplement the expansion, which I think is pretty good, and it's all a part of the campaign. I can't really argue with it. It's something new. We don't know all the details yet. New is what I'm looking for right now, especially when it comes to expansions for Destiny 2, so I'm pretty happy about that. So when you look at the episodes, they're actually broken up to 3 different episodes throughout the year, and each episode is going to contain different acts within a 6-week window. So there's going to be Echoes Act 1 is going to be 6 weeks, Act 2 is going to be 6 weeks, Act 3 is going to be 6 weeks. And I don't want to say it's like drip-fed content, but it kind of is, you know what I mean? We're not completing the whole Echo story front-loaded right away, and it just seems like there's going to be more opportunity for people to jump in, get things completed, and then be able to kind of jump out, which I think is pretty cool as well. It seems like it's going to be the best of both worlds, and I really do appreciate that. And of course, there's going to be new weapons and new armors, new missions for every act of the episodes. But as of right now, I can't really confirm that there's going to be like a heavy drip-fed content. If anything, it just seems like they are kind of holding back a little bit. If the armors and weapon sets and the mission sets kind of all blended to each other, it would be more of a drip feed. If they don't, and it all seems like different things, then it's gonna be somewhat of just like a major episode and then mini seasons within the episode. It really just depends how the episodes shake out, but I would not be surprised if it's a mixture of both, and we get some drip feed content and we get some stuff that looks fresh and brand new. From Act 1 to Act 3 is a totally different vibe, but we shall see. One last thing I would like to say before we all kind of finish the video is that Into the Light has been excellent and has been successful, and really it's just reinvigorated a lot of Destiny 2 people. And I'm not saying that just having the drip fed content is the main corporate of it, but it does have a factor to play to it. And I think if Bungie really wants to keep this golden age going, and we probably will survive to Destiny 3, I think just taking some keynotes from Into the Light and is bringing it into the main content would do wonders for a lot of people. There's very few people that are angry right now, and I think that is due to basically us not really having a lapse even with the delay with content. Also, the content being somewhat drip fed and having something meaningful to work towards every week. And the last but not least, of course, is nostalgia and kind of rectifying for, you know, sunsetting a lot of campaigns and weapons and things like that. But that's a whole different subject. Thanks for watching. My name is Sleek Shadow. Like and follow me. Till next time, guys. Peace out.